Welcome to round 10 of the AOR RF2 F1 2018 Season 2 Championship. We're here at Turkey, which is a track that I haven't driven out for the best part of 6 years. I drove it more recently on the original grid, but the physics in that game are questionable. A lot of people had backer grids for this race, so we ended up skipping straight into Q2 because there were so many people with backer grids. I think if we did Q1, only about 2 people would have got eliminated. We're on board now with my fastest qualifying lap, well, my only qualifying lap. You'll find out why very soon. That lap was a 1:25.3, which was over a second slower than P1. Here we are on board with the second attempt and the final of the session. As you can see with the delta, I'm absolutely identical with my previous lap. So if I want to make an improvement, I need to nail these final 3 corners. I ended up qualifying 8th, which wasn't brilliant, but when you bottle it in the final sector, Max, what do you expect? On the grid, I somehow forgot my launch control button, and the lights seemed to go out really quickly for some reason. It doesn't actually look like that on the recording, but I assure you it was. And it seems everyone in the voice chat can vouch for me there.
I don't understand what happened there. I was not ready for it.
Me neither.
We all got trash starts.
I am being
murdered.
Already, even without DRS, Matthew Clip is readying an overtake, and because he's in my blind spot, and I'm such a courteous driver, it's pretty easy for him to get the move done. Same thing happens on lap 3 with Danov. I must just get an awful exit out of that right-hander leading up onto the back straight. And that's only reaffirmed with a lap later. Even though I have DRS, I'm not even within 3 car lengths as we approach the braking zone. As we approach turn 8 on lap 5, the front right is already degraded into the yellow. Let's see what kind of punishment it can go through. That's 174 degrees. Those are just amateur numbers though. What about next lap? Whoa, 190. Lap 7 now, and I've got a pretty even gap between 8th and 10th. Just running at my own pace, trying to see how quickly I can ruin exclusively the front right tyre while the rest of them can go on for the entire race. Brandon is catching us, however, slowly but surely, well, quite quickly actually. So much so that on lap 10, before the DRS activation line, he's going for the move as well as Sam. Braking now for the final 3 turns, you can see me squirm at the wheel simply because I wasn't accounting for the increased speed at which I was entering the corner. We're now in the slipstream of Brandon coming towards the first turn. He places the car in the middle of the track to defend, and I stick to the racing line because I'm not about to go down the extreme inside of turn 1. I can't even make that turn properly in the racing line. Lap 12 and the front right has dropped into the 40s. Look at how much better the rears are in comparison, it's hilarious. Scott's making a move up the inside, but it doesn't worry me too much since I'm heading into the pits anyway. We're going on to mediums. Ideally I'd be putting hypersofts all around apart from a front right medium tyre. But we can't do that, so mediums it is. We emerge sandwiched between the 2 Sabre Juniors, which makes a nice change from being stuck on my own for an entire stint. Just to add to the group, up ahead, Matt Canley spun out and came to join us, which gives us DRS for that lap. It may surprise you, actually it probably doesn't, that I'm actually learning the actual racing lines of this track during the race. One of the things I learned is that you don't want to do that while DRS is open. Not a major problem for me though, since I didn't really spend all that much time within DRS. Lap 24 and Brandon goes for a near identical move as he did last time. This time though, my inside front locks up and we get very close to touching. Later on, as Brandon goes for an overtake on Nick, the Sabre loses the rear dramatically and that moves me up into the points. I mean, so far I haven't made any mistakes, I'm just slow. And as a result, I'm just balancing on the edge of points paying positions. Speaking of which, on lap 27, Liam runs wide at turn 7, allowing me to take P8. Just before DRS activation.
DRS is so powerful. Yeah, I know.
Yep. You say that just as I yeeted Max.
Coming towards the end of lap 28 now, and we've just gained almost half a second in DRS. That's how powerful it is here. Anyway, we're coming in for our final stop, and
This is like the easiest pit lane of the year.
so we're on sauce for the last, I believe, 11 laps. It's the start of lap 30 and it's 2.3 seconds to Alfie ahead. We're fairly safe to nick behind, but we can't afford any major mistakes. We're just outside the DRS window at the end of the lap, but we are gaining. You can tell visibly, even without the delta, we're much closer after that braking zone. Alfie loses the rear out at the final corner, and that forces our hand to take the inside line. So at this point, I'm sitting on a pile of excrement, hoping I don't lock up or understeer going through turn 1. And luckily, I actually made it.
Oh, lot of poo shot out, man!
By the way, turn 8 at this point in the race is absolute.
Oh, turn 8 is sex.
Yes, that. There's less than 2 laps to go now, and as a result of time penalties further up the field, unbeknownst to me and Liam, this is actually a battle for the 10th. I would have loved to have known that at the time, since I've been finishing just outside the point since Baku. Here we go then though. I've got DRS for the final time and it's a do or die move. Just like earlier in the race, I can't see the car on the inside, but it's very respectful racing between the both of us. Liam gets a much better line through that sequence of corners, and it's just going to be another P11 finish. I've actually got the most amount of 11th place finishes so far this season, and that is just taking the piss.